You're listening to the Captain Jack Sports Show on Northeast Streaming Sports.
The Hometown Foundation is excited to bring back the Dream Ride experience, August 26th to the 28th at Connecticut's Farmington Polo Club. Join us in celebrating the accomplishments of our Dream Riders while enjoying live music, a car and motorcycle show, family fun zone, pet adoptions, canine demonstrations, the Fireman's Chili Cook-Off, and much, much more. Get your tickets today.
Hello.
How are you? How are you?
Just fine. Happy birthday to Joe Namath today, his 79th birthday. And ladies, he is still as fine as he was when he was 30. I'm here to tell you, with a nice gray sideburn. So how have you been, Captain?
Not too bad. Like I said, I last weekend, or I shouldn't say this past weekend, I was home. I wish I was with. There was an event down in Austin, which was the Raider Nation softball tournament, and I wanted to be there. But the previous weekend, I was in Monterey, and so it would have been a back-to-back. And I can do back-to-backs during the season. Right. Because I have X amount of time that I have to like plan and schedule for time away. But in the off season, it's a little bit harder. But I do want to say, first off, thank you for being here. Like, share, and let's put this up from everywhere. I want to say we already got 3 ladies in the house.
I know it. I was gonna say that's why I made my remark about Joe Namath. Rosalie and Kelly and Jackie Jones.
That's right. I have 3 ladies here, so they know where it's at to hang out with the wenches. Or I'll be a wench until Heidi comes in. So
thanks, Rosalie, and ladies, I wanted to get it right away started, Captain. What do you think about all the rumor now that Tampa Bay's picked up Akeem Hicks? About the rumors that Sue may be coming here.
I would like that. And everybody was like saying, well, and I was reading one of the boards when I got a chance to do that. And I was like, they said, well, has he been productive lately? And I'm like, sure. Yeah, he has.
Duh.
Yeah.
I mean, for one thing, just having him on your line, forget what he's getting ready to do, he's going to draw a double team.
Exactly.
I don't know anybody the Raiders have right now on that line other than Max Crosby that will instantly draw a double team. And we want the double team in the middle at the DT position, not on the ends. So, I mean, Captain, it's about 7 years too late.
Well, no. It's not 7 years too late, but it's 7 years that have passed that we didn't quite get them when we wanted them or should have. But we're still getting a dynamic player if we sign him, and hopefully we will. And there's still a little bit of time. I mean, this is the 31st of May. It's not going to happen tomorrow because officially you got to wait till June 2nd.
Right.
June 2nd is when the money comes on the books, and there's $25 million that are available. So, we got another lady in the house. We got the Raiderette China in the house.
Hi, Raiderette China. And the other thing about Sue is his Iron Man reputation. I mean, I'm reading where the only 2 games he really missed were the 2 games out in suspension. But I want to also talk about the baggage that some people perceive Sue is bringing in. Let's face it. He was out of control in Detroit because they had a head coach that didn't know what they was doing. Schwartz, I mean, he let them boys do anything they wanted to do. But when he got to Miami, he started to settle down. Mm-hmm. And by the time he's in Tampa Bay, you don't hear his name called for any type of flagrant abuse, personal fouls, nothing. He hasn't had a personal foul penalty in over 5 years.
Well, okay, but that is predicated on the fact of what color uniform he was wearing.
Detroit, in Detroit, he drew flags.
Well, what I'm saying is he was a youngster.
Who was scared of Detroit?
Wait a second. Hear me out. His nastiness predicated the flags in Detroit, so he got his reputation in Detroit. Okay, and it really, it didn't really get lower until he went to Miami. Started getting lower in Miami because of that uniform. It wasn't like, okay, well, he's not the same.
The Tom Brady connection with Tampa Bay. I know. You think it's because they just don't flag Tom Brady teams. Defense or offense, right?
It's that color uniform.
I know what you're saying, but I mean, it's remarkable that the reputation of him as a dirty player still follows him around.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I loved him when he was being called a dirty player. I wanted him then in 2015 when he first came on the market, and I kept saying, Reggie, please get him, but we didn't want to pay him, so that was that. So, I mean, Sue in the middle, like I said, the value of Sue is the rep, the double team in the middle. It's the center and a guard will have to be occupied with him, leaving one of the defensive ends on single coverage every play.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to think that that's going to help our defensive line rotation. It's going to help push that middle a little bit more. And, I'm all for that.
Yeah. And actually, people were I don't want to say screaming, but they were saying, hey, pick up Akeem Hicks, who, from what I understand, signed with Tampa. So for the folks that were in on the Sue sweepstakes, it was the Raiders and Tampa. but Tampa just dropped out of the sweepstakes because they picked up Akeem Hicks. But picking up Akeem Hicks, I would say, and see, I don't like that banner being over your face. Can you move your camera up a little bit, Peggy? So,
how do you do that? I'm not technologically sound.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Stay there. Can you stay there?
I suppose so.
I'll just say
technology always is plotting against me. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying with Akeem Hicks signing with Tampa Bay, so Tampa Bay just got out of the Sioux sweepstakes. So basically, it's the Raiders and maybe somebody that would come in at a late time, but it's basically the Raiders are bidding against themselves to acquire Ndamukong Suh.
I just think that the sooner we can get them in the house, the better. And now I want to move to
wait, before we get there, and I apologize, but the debate was we need Akeem Hicks, we need Akeem Hicks, we need Akeem Hicks. Akeem Hicks has been injured all these years and has not played full seasons, whereas Ndamukong Suh has played full seasons for the last several years.
And that's so true. And I'd like Akeem too. I mean, I just like what he does to a defensive line when he gets them in there. He's a natural leader. Suh is somewhat of a journeyman, but I'm telling you, no offensive line can afford to single cover him. They just can't do it. It's not going to happen. And that's only going to benefit all the rest of the D linemen that are lining up next to him.
Yeah,
that's the way I'm looking at it. And we're gonna move on. I know this may be a non-story, but there was word out that Josh was at the OTAs on Thursday, but nobody saw him doing any practices. Was he injured? I couldn't get to my Raider sources to find out. Everybody's tight-lipped on it. Was he hurt?
Yeah. I don't think he's hurt. I think if he's hurt up here.
Yeah.
He's hurt because he knows that the Raiders have brought in some young backs. And granted, one of them already is on the IR for next year. So he's already been redshirted, and that was Sincere McCormick. And he's already been basically red-shirted. And the reason why I use the term red-shirted is because McDaniel, in his stead in that team that I won't mention, okay,
they learned some things.
has a history of red-shirting the running backs that he has had that are rookies. And I can't remember which one it was, but they had a case in point where a kid was like a third-round pick and only had about, I want to say, less than 25 carries for his rookie year. Then the next year, he was boom, 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 and he started getting the offense. So he was redshirted like they do in college for time. And they were saying that this kid was a third-round kid, and we picked up our Zeus, who is, I think, is quite a capable back and is like Jacobs 2.0 improved in the fourth round. So don't expect, if we go on what to expect out of the running back field this year, don't expect a lot out of Zeus this year if it goes by what McDaniels has done historically. And which is unfortunate because I really wanted to see him used. But the other thing is that I think that maybe he might be picking up carries at the end of the year because they're gonna use Jacobs in a good way.
Yeah, and I see that, Captain. But what I want to go, a lot of people were just speculating, like you said, about being hurt in the head. I mean, if you know you're on the bubble and you see all these new guys, you got 2 guys drafted, a bunch of guys being brought in as UDFAs for your job, why aren't you on the field for the OTAs?
I think that.
I mean,
And
I know they're not mandatory, but this is about politics.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with mandatory or not mandatory. This is politics. I mean, you see the position that you're in.
Right. And but why is it that it's almost always kids from Alabama?
Don't get me started on Alabama boys. See, and Nick Saban is out there complaining about the NIL and people are being paid to go to this college and that college. I'm like, I haven't been impressed by what you've been producing for the pros. Not for a long time. You know, it's something about Alabama guys and being entitled. Maybe that's the wrong word for it. Cap, what do you?
No.
Am I grasping the wrong word here? It's a sense of entitlement about them.
That is spot on. I don't think that they have helmets big enough. I think Riddell has to have their extra special wide ego helmets for Alabama products.
Really,
it's just the way it is. It just
they think that they're still at Alabama. Oh well, all I have to do is show up and do my little 3-4 catches, you know, maybe score a touchdown, and I'm good till next week's game. And that's enough to, you know, get me on the team. They just seem to think that they're entitled to a starting job because they showed up.
Yeah.
Because I'm Josh Jacobs, you know, I'm Amari Cooper. You know, I had to bring him in. It's Alabama boys. I know. Don't get me started. Now let's go to the other topic before we get to our AFC rundown. And that is the Raiders bringing in Cap for a tryout. A tryout only. Why did it generate such the big deal? I'm mystified.
No, and I'm not mystified because it is a confluence. I think that's the right word. It is a confluence of press upon press upon bad press upon good press upon a item of significance when you're talking about, and this is where it is. Okay, you have a polarizing and now I said a polarizing figure in Kaepernick, and you can say whatever you want. He's polarizing. You know,
well, the polarization is no doubt created by the media and the fans. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's media, fans, and everybody else. You got a polarizing figure in Kaepernick mixed in with a team of the Raiders, which is a polarizing topic amongst NFL, brought in amongst a topic of the Raiders with a polarizing issue of Mark Davis and his bout with the interim, now canned president of the team, and all of that goes with it, with still a stench of what happened last year with Gruden and the emails and all the things that go with it. You put all of that together and it is a crapola sandwich.
Yeah. And see, that's where I go back to Raiders done gone soft. Raider fans, Raider Nation, you done gone soft. Since when, in the 30, 40 years that Al ran this team, did he ever take the easy way? Did he ever back away from a player like Plunkett, who he was told, oh, he's washed up. Don't go, he's a bust. New England and San Francisco, don't touch that guy. Plus, he's got a little bit of an attitude. Since when has Al ever, or the Raiders, ever backed up off of controversial players? Name a time. We don't do that. We never did that. That is not our tradition. That is not where we come. Second chances are what we're all about. So now, because we're afraid that people won't like us if we put this guy on our roster. Y'all done gone punk. I mean, when did a Raider fan ever care what other people thought? When?
Here but it's not just that. And that's why you get you and I talked about it on my show the other day. It's like, if we talk about Kaepernick purely as a football player, okay,
then we have to talk about the 6 years,
right?
6 years absence.
Exactly,
Definitely.
And that's where I'm saying is, like, I saw a quarterback that at the end of his time with the 49ers under a system with Kelly that was not a good quarterback.
A 2-14 team that was imploding, not with Kelly, but with the guy that was with them for 1 year, the year before. And then if you go back another year where Kaepernick was there, the team was falling apart under Harbaugh. And then they had the world's biggest idiot as a GM, Trent Baalke. Don't tell me that everyone on that team just wanted to get out. They had retirements. They had trades. They had guys going down with injuries that weren't coming back. I mean, that team was imploding by 2014. Okay? He's in the Super Bowl in 2012. By 2014, the crap that was raining down on the team from the front office finally took its toll. Harbaugh, then Tom Zula. Then you kick Tom Zula out and you bring in a failed Chip Kelly for the Eagles. Now, what do you think the players thought from their perspective?
And see, that
it's all coming apart.
Well, see, but that's the $1 million question. Was obviously the team had turmoil. We know this.
No, there's another word for that. It was the Titanic. And that's what San Francisco 49er fans call it. Okay? It was a ship that was sinking, and changing the captain wasn't helping.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. A Harbaugh that didn't want to be there anymore, then a Tom Zula, whatever that is, and then Chip Kelly, who the Eagles had run out of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Come on now. And in that environment, you say, oh, but he wasn't performing. Guess what? Nobody was performing. They were 2-14 under Kelly, and that wasn't all Kaepernick.
No, it wasn't all Kaepernick. It wasn't, and he was in a bad system with Kelly. But if he didn't perform,
what are you talking about? There was no system. Tom Zula, what system was he in under Tom Zula in 2015?
But it's still
and then you changed it up.
You look at the stats, and if you're gonna go there, and we're gonna go there, he has been declining since the Super Bowl, correct?
And no doubt his coaching has been declining, as is every player on that team since the Super Bowl, and the coaching and the front office. The entire thing imploded. Now, if you want to give me a legitimate concern about Cap,
I got a
aside from the obviously what I deem to be political correctness that is being forced by certain elements from outside the team, 6 years is a long time to be away from the game.
Thank you.
That's the only legitimate discussion in my mind. There's
that's the one that I want to focus on, because then I don't have to deal with all the political crap.
Exactly. If you want to give me a legit football reason, and I'll tell you another legit football reason, with all the outside pressure that was allowed to be brought to bear on a team that was disintegrating for the last 3 years Kaepernick was with it, Kaepernick could not focus. I mean, by the time he actually got replaced in 2016, I mean, his game was gone. He could not focus or concentrate. And I'm saying, baby, if you're coming back, you Jackie Robinson, baby. You Jackie Robinson. You're going to have to tune out, ice out all that outside noise that's coming at you, and you got to play your game. And I'm not sure he was up to it. He showed me he wasn't.
No.
He left out of here in 2016. He had a game where he had like 16 yards throwing. So like three for completion, 16 yards. I'm like, oh no. You got to do a better job of focusing on you got to ice all that outside noise. You got to clear your head. I'm not sure that he's ready for that. And then, Captain, what is a 6-year absence do to an athlete?
There's such a thing as muscle memory, but there's also such a thing as muscle atrophy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that's right.
And I always go by, I always like to say and talk about Warren Wells.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warren Wells was the speed.
Just go slip a minute. Just a minute. Keep going.
Okay. Warren Wells was the speed demon of the Raiders in the 60s, and he went away to prison for about I want to say it was about 6 to 8 months. He was in prison for 6 to 8 months. But because he was a favorite to Al Davis, when Warren got out of prison, Al brought him back to the team and said, "Hey, we want you back. We're gonna give you a tryout." And in 6 to 8 months, Warren Wells went from a speedster to just another effing guy. He went to a JAFG, just another effing guy. The speed was gone, the quickness, the elusiveness, everything that he had before he went to prison was gone. And Al was going to sign him back, but he was just another effing guy.
And so that's why, yeah, and Captain, you have hit it on the nail. Why all the negativity that came out of the nation and the rebirth of all this, infighting, like we care what other people think about our choices as Raiders, it was unnecessary because, as we see, he didn't get signed.
Yeah, he didn't get signed.
Nobody's going to sign him.
Yeah,
they're not going to sign him. Besides, Cap got a nice little fat settlement anyway, didn't he?
Yeah, he got a settlement. He got a settlement. From
we call it in the Black community. We call it hush money.
Yeah,
but he got a settlement essentially to be quiet. And I don't know why 6 years later he's decided that he wants to have this Lazarus moment, except that it's another stunt.
Well,
I mean,
it was.
If you want to criticize the return of Kaepernick, go for the football angle.
Yeah, that makes it easy to talk about because I do not want to touch the political and the social, economic stuff. I don't want to touch it. And I said I'm not going to talk about it. It makes it easier for me because I know what my views are. If you don't know what my views are, go back a couple of years and I was talking about it.
And let me say this. I have a post on my Facebook page about this matter that got over 200 likes. And it said, quite frankly, those of you that are upset about Cap, the Raiders don't need your permission to put anybody on their roster.
Mm-hmm.
What are we? We bow to outside political pressure?
No, I was just saying, I don't
follow. What is this? We're not bowing to anybody.
I don't remember Ziegler calling me up. Wait a second. Did you get the call, Peggy? Maybe he called you.
Well, I have to check and see my missed calls. Maybe it went into voicemail.
Yeah, because remember, my phone is in a phone bank when I'm at work, so I can't have any phone calls, right? And for all of this time, I check them. I check them when I get out of work, and Zig nor McDaniel. I didn't have any missed calls from the was it the
I didn't
702?
get any calls. Did anybody out there, Bishop or Gabe? China? Did you get a call from the Raiders asking if it was okay to give Kaepernick a tryout?
Yeah, well, Gabe's our Giants fan, but he's a good thing.
That's all right. I mean, did anybody get a call? No.
Yes.
And we're not likely to get a call, which makes it even more imperative that we ignore the hateful noise that's coming, hateful political noise that's coming. It's irrelevant to a Raider. A real Raider would not be concerned about what anybody thought that was outside the Raiders, pro or con. I don't care.
And I
don't care whether it gets signed or not signed.
Wait, I will say this as well. Remember that there was talk a couple years ago about a certain quarterback that was in Vegas for an event that was hanging out with Mark Davis, and this certain quarterback who has since won a Super Bowl for a fake pirate team, and everybody was just going through, we're signing this, we're going to get this guy. And we didn't get this guy. But I was on record in saying that I couldn't stand the thought. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stand the thought if a certain quarterback who has since played for the fake Pirates was the quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I would throw up every time I saw it. But
Raider Red China's funny.
I'm still going to support whoever is behind center for the Raiders, because
I mean, that's the bottom line.
I support the team. Where's the thing? I support the shield. I support the name. I support the team. I might not like who's behind center, and that goes without saying nowadays.
When is that a requirement that we like the guy? Yeah. I mean, when does that even matter? That's what my point is that let's not buy into the outside political noise, racially toned noise coming from the outside. We are Raiders. We march to our own beat. Mm-hmm. We have our own agenda. Yeah. And we never cared what anybody thought about who we bought in. You know, they were telling us Lyle Alzado, right? Even before we knew that the first thing the Broncos said, oh, he's on steroids. He has an anger management problem. Okay.
Yeah, and I applaud him for that. May
he rest in peace. And I'm thinking to myself, do you think Al cared what somebody else had to say about him? No. And I think that the Raiders' backup quarterback situation is just fine. I think we got Nick Mullins in.
Thank you.
There was people that were upset because he bought one of his projects, Mr. Stim, from that other team with him.
I like that better. That other team, yeah.
But let me tell you something. Didn't Gruden have a pet project? He had a pet that he kept out in the backyard too.
Called Peterman. Yeah. Who took every snap. Took every snap in preseason last year. Every snap.
And we have to understand that's not limited to Gruden, and that goes on all over the league. They have their little pets that they keep out in the backyard or stashed on the practice squad somewhere, and hoping for the opportunity for this person to be a starter. I mean, that's what coaches do. If they have a feeling about a guy, they get along with a guy, he's been highly recommended by one of their friends, whatever the reason. So we've got Stidham, we've got Mullins, we signed one other quarterback, UDFA. It's fine. I didn't see any reason why the Raiders should bring him in, but I was glad that Mark ignored the outside noise and the Raiders brought him in anyway. Okay? I just think
to put this in a bow, and thank you, Gabe, for citing that.
mhm.
He's all right, but we don't see a need to sign him right
why?
now. Yeah.
We have people on the roster that can, that they can seriously start developing for that backup role. Let's go with them. If somebody goes down injured, Carr should go down. God help us. I mean, probably, maybe he'll get a call. But the first thing Cap is going to have to understand, he's Jackie Robinson, 1947. Okay? He's going to have a whole lot of stuff coming at him. And he's just got to learn how to screen it out. It's just got to be screened out. He's got to concentrate on his game and nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But see, that's the question. Do you think he can?
I'm not sure. From what I saw in his last days in San Francisco, when the whole franchise is going down in flames, no. I mean, that's a special. It takes a special person to tune out the kind of hate that was coming at Cap from the White House. Okay, it was coming from the White House. So we have to understand what he was trying to deal with. He's gonna have to build himself a little bubble if he really wants to come back and play. And I'm not quite sure that's what he wants to do. I just think he wants to prove that the NFL is still blackballing him.
Well, if he wanted to prove that, I don't think he did it the right way.
Well, yeah, I think he did. What he's saying is, at the end of the day, nobody's going to sign me.
Well, but see, at the end of the day, you have to have ability to be signed.
Well, see, that's a debatable thing. That's all subjective, isn't it? It's in a coach's eyes, right? Whether a guy is a guy that I want to sign. But he can point to all the signings of these UDFAs and quarterbacks that ain't never seen a playoff game, much less a Super Bowl, that got all signed. See, I know what he's up to, but to me, if he's going to come with the Raiders, he's going to have to be strong of the mind.
Yeah.
He's going to have to learn how to block out. And Raider Nation needs to learn how to block it out too. We don't give a darn what you think. Neither do the Raiders. They don't need your permission to bring anybody they want in, even Jamarcus Russell. Okay?
Peggy,
wait a minute. Or Todd Marinovich. Wait a minute. I'm not finished. Todd Marinovich. They can bring anybody they want in for a tryout. And they don't need to ask you or get your blessing.
I'm just saying, you bring up Jabustis, you bring up Pooper Cooper, and I have no problem with Marinovich.
And Jailbird Marinovich, don't forget, I brought up his name too.
I know. I said that Marinovich actually
had
ability, but he was poisoned by his own dad.
And let me say it this way. He don't get a pass for that. Where's his toughness of heart? He wasn't tough enough in the head to be a Raider. I mean, there's different reasons why people don't work out, okay? But I just like a fair presentation, not just ranting and raving about Jamarcus. I want to see them all. Dave Klingler, anybody? Kelly Stouffer, Rick Meyer. I mean, I could just go down a supersized list of quarterbacks that had worse stats than Jamarcus Russell when they played for the little bit of time they were starters.
Actually, I agree. I agree with Ed. We've given old boy more credit and time than he really deserves. I agree with you, Ed. And by the way, really? Ed, thanks for coming in, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, it's and let me say this, Ed. There isn't more stuff going on with the Raiders because, as Captain pointed out earlier, we're kind of waiting for June 1st, right? We need to know before we can start talking about it. Okay, so now we're going to spend these last 20 minutes and we're going to talk about who's going to win. And we're just talking AFC. Who's going to win the division? And I want to start out with the AFC East. AFC East. Now you know who you got now. You got the Bills, the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Jets. Who you got, Captain?
Based upon, and I'm trying to think of if anybody has really done anything to make themselves better. I know the Dolphins picked up a speedy wide receiver and gave up some draft picks, but they still don't have an O-line to substantiate that. The Patriots were a playoff team last year, but they had a mass exodus of coaches and personnel, and there's a bit of, I don't want to say dissension, but I actually saw another thing today where we wanted to talk to their tight ends coach, and Belichick said, "No, you guys got enough stuff going on.
You got enough stuff coming." I knew there was going to be an end to the generosity.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm still suspicious of the generosity to begin with.
Yeah.
But that's another story for another day.
And the JETS sucks. So that's not even in the equation.
Poor little things.
Yeah. Although I will say that the JETS drafted awesome, and they might actually have a team in a couple years.
I mean, yes, indeed.
In a couple years.
And this is the second year of their coach. And we all know about Belichick. I'm looking at the teams. When we start going through these divisions, I'm going to start looking at the teams who got brand new coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's extremely questionable whether those brand new coaches are going to be able to solidify their systems and do that miraculous 1 year turnaround followed by a complete drop. Notice all the 1 year wonders, the ones that turn it around in 1 year, check their record after 2, 3, 4 years, right back to where they started.
Yeah. And Matthew,
1 year turnaround is just an anomaly.
It's an aberration. And I remember when Sperano, may he rest
1 year turnaround, Miami.
Yeah. And then
after that, right back to where they were.
In answer to your question, I still think that it's going to be
AFC East.
It's going to be the way it finished last year. Bills number 1, Patriots number 2, Dolphins 3. They are coming up, and the Jets don't have enough going on, so they'll be the last of that division.
Well, Cap, we got to do something about all this traffic on my screen. But what I'm thinking is also, I'm thinking that the Bills' window is closing. I'm thinking that for 2 reasons. And I just see a steady decrease. I mean, they last year they played well at times, and then other times I was like, who are those guys losing 9-6 to the Jacksonville Jaguars? What is that? I mean, at times they're starting to be inconsistent. Yeah. Where they were a lot more consistent in 2020, 2019. Their consistency is going in all directions. And as we saw against Kansas City in that playoff game, my God, the defensive line, the pass rush completely disappeared. Just poof. One of the reasons why they went out and got Von Miller. Who did they get?
They picked up Von Miller in free agency, and he got quite a haul.
Right. I mean, they completely the entire defensive line disintegrated against Kansas City. I saw it with my own eyes. There was no pressure on Mahomes, hence the comeback and then the win. And then, of course, there's other things about the Bills. I'll pick them. I'll take the Bills for the AFC East.
That's because they're the best team in that division, followed closely by the Patriots.
Only because of coaching.
Right.
We have to
by the way, except Matthew, Belichick's not calling offensive play. Joe Judge is.
And Belichick, never pretended to be an offensive coordinator
No,
in his
he's
entire career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one guy that knows how to stay in his lane.
Yeah, that
He
is
really does. Okay, let's move on to the AFC North.
okay.
That was a weird division. And I keep
Yeah.
telling Bengals fans, I keep hurting the little Tiger fans. If it wasn't for the collapse of the Ravens and the Steelers, they wouldn't have won the division. And the Browns, by the way, at the end,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have won the division.
Wow, that is such a tough division to call. Now, I think it's tougher because all of those teams, and like I said, the Bengals, because they are the AFC champs, everybody gives them, and it's like they're a good team, but are they necessarily better than everybody in that division?
And is it sustainable? See, is sustainability. Let's look at the competition. We got the Steelers. Wait a minute. And you know, I'm on Steeler fans all the time. They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, they got 4.
Well, wait a minute. I call them wannabes and never beens. Okay? They want to be a starter, but never been a starter. All right? Except for Rudolph, I think his name is.
Oh,
he started
Kyle
Mason
Rudolph?
No, Mason Rudolph.
Mason,
right. Yeah, and he only started because Roethlisberger was injured. So I mean, it wasn't like he outright won the job.
Did they pick up Trubisky?
Yes, and you know, I'm a big fan of Trubisky, but I have to say the Steelers, that quarterback position is way not settled. The only wild card here is Najee.
I think Trubisky will be a decent quarterback for them, and then you got Rudolph as your number 2, and the kid out of Pitt as your. He will be on that roster. He might even be the number 2, and because they're going to groom him. But you're going to start with Trubisky there. I think that they have a better chance with Trubisky, who actually can. He's not going to be a statue back there.
What about the Browns? Acquisition of Watson changes the whole ball game.
Yeah, but see, they don't know how long he's going to be out, and that's why they haven't gotten rid of, the guy who makes too many commercials, because they don't know how many games he's going to. He's going to be suspended for some games. They just don't know how long.
And that whole situation leaves us not really putting Cleveland as the winner of that division, and now we have to go to the Ravens. I don't know what to make of them.
Yeah,
except that they're well coached.
Yeah,
I've always respected Harbaugh's bounce back ability.
Yeah,
but I swear to God, Lamar, he's starting to get those injuries that the RPO quarterbacks always fall into.
Yeah,
they fall into this injury hole and they can't get out of it.
Do you know? I'm not asking this because I'm playing. I got a secret. Do you know who their backup quarterback is?
No, I don't, and I didn't see any activity on the free agent market that would really, kind of solidify that, because I'm seeing Jackson coming up injured more and more and more. As I told the Ravens fans, always happens to our run first quarterbacks.
Right.
It's not anything you can get around. When you use your legs as part of your game, you become a runner. And you're going to take the hits of the runner. The next question is, they never gave him a wide receiver core. Do you know they got rid of all their wide receivers, except for Mark Andrews, who isn't a wide receiver?
Yeah.
They have nobody. That was one of the main problems.
Didn't they trade for who picked up the Eagles wide receiver in the draft day trade? Wasn't it the Ravens?
They did. They replenished, but notice they changed out every one of their starting wide. The 2 starting wide receivers from 2021 are gone. They have 2 new receivers in. New chemistry has to be built. New plays, the whole work has to be rebuilt. but they got great coaching.
Yeah, and you know what? Based upon that, I'm going to say that the Ravens have a bounce back year and win that division.
Interesting call, Captain.
I think they're going to come back. I think the Ravens are going to win the division, and then 2 and 3 are going to be fought between the Browns and the Bengals.
And I hate to write the Steelers off too because they're well coached too.
Yeah, but they don't they got a good D, but like I said, I think that quarterback situation, when you talk about all the things that division, just like our division, it's going to be within like three. They're going to be within like 3 games of each other between top and bottom.
All year long. Yeah. I mean, you can see it. The other thing is, I don't know whether, I watched films of games, not only the games themselves, of the films. And the thing I saw about the Pittsburgh offense, even with Roethlisberger, there's a certain laziness, okay, about the play calling in Pittsburgh. The offensive coordinator is a problem. And I think they're going to see that. Instead of designing plays for those wide receivers, for Juju, who's not there anymore, I mean, they just want to dump it off to Najee and let him be the offense. I mean, you kept seeing it. And they did the same thing in San Francisco. The laziness, boys now, McDaniel, the ones down in Miami now, the head coach, he was offensive coordinator for San Francisco. Give it to Debo. I mean, to me, that's lazy. Spread the ball around. Design plays for everybody. Otherwise, you're going to have a one-trick pony offense. And that's what happened to Steelers last year. And that lazy offensive coordinator is still there. I still got to go with Cleveland to win the division, though. Between Ravens and Cleveland, I mean, we're expecting an awful lot to happen on the Ravens for them to win that division. I think on paper, Cleveland looks better to me.
Yeah, but you don't play on paper.
No.
For some reason, because of the situation where you got to figure out what's going on with Watson, because that's not solved, and if Jackson can remain somewhat healthy, I will give the edge to Baltimore. With Cleveland coming in like right behind them, and again, I don't know. Like I said, Cleveland, that thing. Like I said, Cincinnati, they got what they didn't lose a lot of people, but they had like I think it's in horse racing they call it a perfect trip or something when the horse goes through and weaves and it gets. They had a perfect trip last year to make it to the Super Bowl, pending like a one bad call against. Who was that against in the play? Oh, yeah, that's right. It was us.
That's right. Clear holding at the end of the game. But now let's go to the AFC South. And now that's a division where, two teams are in one world and 2 teams are in another world.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's easy, but you're talking about a one-trick pony. That's the
Titans and the Colts are in one world, and the Texans and Jaguars are in another world entirely. Matter of fact, they might be in another universe. Okay.
Right. If the NFL was the Premier League in like England, the final those 2 guys at the bottom would go down a league. I can't remember what they call that. There's a name for that. Where they get substituted or they get ousted, and they bring up 2 other football clubs to relegated. There you go. I got the word. They would be relegated to a lower league, but it's not not in the NFL. I'm going to say, well, like I said, it's the haves and the have-nots, and you know that the Colts have a better team,
right?
All the way around, but the Titans just have gotten all those good things together. I'm going to call the Colts. Yeah, I'm going to call the Colts as the division winners, followed closely by the Titans.
Matthew and Raider at China agree with you. We haven't gotten Edwards' pick for the AFC South yet, but I'm still a Titan gal, and so I'm gonna pick the Titans for the
You
AFC South. And there's reasons why, because things I saw with the Colts, the whole thing that went on with Carson Wentz, with the total collapse at the end of the season. It's not the first time that the Colts have collapsed in December. I thought they were our twin for a little while. With the late season collapse, the Colts were doing it too. Okay. And it cost them a playoff spot last year. So we shall see, but I certainly would go with the Titans. And now for the AFC West.
Oh, is that a division? I haven't
Yes,
been
it
paying attention
is.
to that division.
And I know you guys talk about the AFC West on a show. You got your own show.
Yep.
Right?
Tomorrow night, folks,
Tomorrow night.
7:30 Eastern. Make sure you're here on this channel. 7:30, Wild Wild West.
And I am here as a Raider fan to pick the Chargers to win the AFC West. and there are reasons why.
I want to hear the reasons why.
Well, first of all, I think they have overall better personnel. They've been playing longer. Their coach is in the second year, not the first, and they have Herbert. And they still have a worthy wide receiving core. I think the Chargers are the little engine that couldn't. Now, nobody says they're going to make it to the AFC title game, and I still think the Raiders will be a wild card. Okay? But I see things about the Chargers that were just coming together. All right? They just got a little bit of, they ran into the Raider freight train at the end of the season. But even then, it was a tight game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so close. And they dominated us the first time they met us, if you'll recall, while Mr. Gruden was still the coach.
Yeah.
I saw the Chargers bringing together some things and some camaraderie and some chemistry. And that's why I'm picking them. Captain, you're calling the AFC West.
You know, if I was doing my show like I did in Guantanamo, I would pick every game, but I said I can't pick the Raiders. I can't pick the Raider game because it's too close to me. It's too close to me. But because you have to throw it at me,
and you got just a few minutes left for this we're going to let you use up the few minutes to tell us why the Raiders are going to win the AFC West. Go.
I just think that because they, like you said, that the Chargers were the little engine that could, the Raiders did. You know, it's like, don't say do it at me like I do like a little Yoda. I said, don't say this, they do. And I think the Raiders do and will. And I like I said, I think the Chargers are going to be number 2. And I think it's going to come down to tiebreakers. I think they might even have the same record.
I believe so. I think the Raiders and the Chargers are going to be. And I tell you what, if it comes down to tiebreakers, like I said, I think the Raiders and the Chargers are the 2 best teams in this division. I believe so.
It'll come down to tiebreakers like the 6th or the 7th tiebreaker. Okay. Because I think they're going to split their games. And it's going to come down to overall record in the division and overall record within the conference. And it might even come down to points and things like that. But I think the Raiders are just going to eke out. They're going to be number 1. The Chargers are going to be number 2. And that galls me to say that because I got to see Coach Defense tomorrow. And he's all about the division. I think that the Chiefs are going to get they're going to slide into that 3rd spot, but not too far behind or not too far in front of the Broncos. They're going to be neck and neck as well. And that's why I said this division is going to be like within 3 games of each other.
I'll tell you why, you know, for people out there, why I just had to come up off the Raiders. They finally made me a Missouri gal when it comes to defense.
Show me.
I don't want to hear about the Raiders defense anymore, how it's gonna be. They have to show me.
Mm-hmm.
You from Missouri, you from the show me state.
Mm-hmm.
I believe nothing. I don't believe that the Raiders understand how to put together a defense, a top 15 defense. They have done nothing in 20 years to demonstrate. I refuse to believe it. And that's why we won't win the division, because we still don't understand that a defense starts with the pass rush. And
Okay.
it starts with the pressure up front. You build up defense from the front to the back.
Uh-huh.
And
would you not agree that Graham is a definitive upgrade?
I don't know who Graham knows. I know, what did one guy say? I know who you were. I don't know who you are.
Okay.
You're not coaching the Giants no more. Giants in the NFC. You don't see the Chiefs twice, the Broncos twice, the Chargers twice. You don't know jack about our division or the players in it.
No, that's the Thursday show. You don't know jack about,
That's what I'm saying here, is that's why I can't give the Raiders winning the AFC. It's too much new. When you got new coaches with new systems, with the same old players, there's got to be a learning curve. Got to be.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be new discoveries. Oh, he played well in this system, but he don't play so well in this system. You see, all that stuff has to be shook out during the regular season.
Yeah.
You can't shake that out during preseason because nobody's putting their real guys on the field. You got to go to the regular season and figure out what's wrong and fix it immediately. That's coaching.
Yeah.
And we don't know how McDaniels has improved as a coach since his run with the Broncos. What, 12 years ago? Is that 12 years ago?
It's been at least a decade. It's been at least a decade.
So we don't know how he's improved as a coach. To me, it's about chess moves. You see one guy making a move. Do you see it, recognize it? Do you know what personnel you need to put in to stop it?
Yeah. But see, I think that is where Graham in Miss Show Me, because I agree with you on that show me stuff. That's why I like the fact that Graham is the new DC, because I postulate, and I hope that he is the man that will, when there is a sinking ship, you get out your equipment and you plug that hole, you put that spike in that hole, and you hit that hole, you stop it, then you counter flood, and you do the things that you need to do in order to make sure that the ship doesn't sink. And I think Graham is the guy to do that.
Well, the question is, how well does he know his personnel? He played with those guys in New York. I think he was there 3 years. That was his third year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. No, he came with Joe Judge. So that was his second year. Judge, that was his second year with the same guys, a defense that he put together. This is a defense, you don't quite know what he got here. He can't possibly know until they take the field and play some defense in the regular season. He doesn't know what he has. I know what he wants. And like I said, I know who you were, but I don't know who you are.
But see, you also said the same thing with and you also said the same thing about, like you said, the only thing, the advantage that any of the teams have in this division is that the coaching has not changed in Kansas City.
Nope.
And that's a positive thing.
Right.
Maybe that's why.
And it didn't change in the Chargers either.
But they're only 1 year up. They're only 1 year up. They got a 1 year of seniority over the coach of the Raiders and the coach of the Donkeys.
Well, the coach of the Donkeys and the coach of the Raiders are brand new with the personnel and in the situation that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
They've never been here. They haven't coached in AFC West. We might count McDaniel's experience 12 years ago as a Bronco, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's not the same personnel. It's not facing the same coaches.
No.
Everything is new. That's why I couldn't quite give it to the Raiders, but I believe we'll be a wild card.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think the Raiders and the Chargers have the best team on paper in this division.
Right. And that's what I think. Well, Captain, it's time for me to head out. And I've always enjoyed it. And thank you, everybody, for coming in. And we'd like to see you guys' picks for the AFC. Oh, thank you, Gabe. He said, I love this show.
Yeah, that's it. Gabe's my Giants shipmate. Really good young man.
And Gabe, we'll get to the Giants in 2 weeks. We'll go to the NFC and start picking division winners. But I have to run now. It was great being in, and thank you everybody who came. And Captain, we'll talk again later on this week, okay?
We will. And remember, we have that project, but I can't do that project until I turn on certain thing. And as soon as that thing gets turned on, then we're going to do that project as well.
Very good. Talk to everybody soon. Thank you for coming out.
All right. Thanks again, Peggy. Love you, honey.
Bye.
All right. There's Miss Peggy, DC Wench, and this has been the Captain and Wenches show. We were a Wench short, but that's okay. I'm sure there are reasons. And again, if you want to come into the show next time, make sure you say, I want to ask Peggy this, or I want to ask Heidi this. Well, unfortunately, Heidi wasn't here, but you can come in. You just got to say, hey, I want to ask this. And I will say this, that, and I want to get back to Gabe was asking me and I will get Gabe. I know it's up here somewhere. You were asking me the most underrated player on the Raiders. That's a good question. The most underrated player. Let me think about that. Before I do my thought, what is Raider fans here? Everybody's a Raider fan that's watching right now, that's live, I should say. Everybody is a Raider fan right now, except for Gabe. And I said, Gabe is a great young man for the Giants. Who is your most underrated Raider? Because I got to think about this. Okay, Perryman, but Perryman was an all-pro. That's. I don't know if you can have that as being an underrated player. And along those lines, you can say Renfro, but again, Renfro was an all-pro as well. So let me think. Most underrated player. Hey, Jeff, thanks for being here. You're catching us at the very end of the show, Jeff. I would say that. Thank you for being here. Willie Wayne says DC is underrated. Wow. DC is underrated? Really? I tell you what, DC is polarizing, just like Kaepernick. DC is polarizing. William Brown, thank you for being here as well, William. Drake is a good answer, and I was actually leaning that way. Especially on offense. I think that Drake is underrated. And unless I see something else, that's probably something that I would say probably on offense, that would be my answer for the most underrated player. I'm going to agree with William on this one, and I'm going to go offense, defense. The most underrated player on offense, and he's going to have a hell of a year as a rebound comeback player will be Kenyon Drake. And I think that he will have, providing that his injury doesn't get the best of him, I'm going to say Kenyon Drake on offense, okay? The former Raiders wide receiver that shall remain nameless. The most underrated player? The former Raiders wide receiver? Oh, okay. But he's gone. But that would have been a good answer, but he's gone now. And I said, and if you don't know who China's talking about, is Edwards, who was traded a year early, but they did the good things there. But they traded him a year. I think Ed Winchell, you're on a loop, Ed. I mean, I'm getting your stuff. But it's a little late. But hey, I don't care. Ed Winchell is watching, and thank you there, shipmate. We got to talk, Ed. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully Edward and I will get together in LA for the season open. Are you still down in LA, Ed? Give me a ring. We got to hook up for that. Because I want to party with Ed Winchell. I want to party with Ed Winchell. I'm going to go I'm going to go with Kenyon Drake as my most underrated offensive player for the Raiders. On defense, underrated. I'm going to say, and that's a good one. Carlson. He is underrated. That I will give you that. He is underrated. But I'm going to give you somebody that doesn't get a lot of press. And I know he was a rookie last year. But I'm going to say Divine Diablo. Because he, as a rookie, he made that stature. He made that, strength. He was involved in the in the locker room when there was things going down, and he made his presence felt. So I'm going to go not quite. I was talking about that's not quite in the head. No, not Edwards. I was talking about that's not quite in the head. I don't know. You're gonna have to say that the most underrated player that is no longer on the team, and he's a wide receiver. Well, if you're talking about Ruggs, that's unfortunate. So I'm going to go with Divine Diablo, and I would say Gillespie would be but Gillespie is still an unknown, and I like what I see with Gillespie. I think Gillespie is going to be part of that safety tandem with Merrick. I think Merrick and Gillespie are going to be the safety tandem that you see a lot this year. I really do. I think that Abram will be in on packages. Yeah, but he's not even. No, he don't know. But we're talking about underrated on this roster, China. On this roster. And no, he never played. And Matthew, he was in my mind as well, Coons. But I still think I needed to see more of him. And I think I've seen enough of Diablo. That I will give him the nod over Coons. Because Jones is not underrated. Crosby's not underrated. Hankins is another choice. But I'm going to go with Divine Diablo. I think those are my picks for most underrated people. So I'm going to say, if you want to call in, I'm gonna give the or if you want to pop in, let me do this, and we might not have a full 2 hour show. We might not have a full 2 hour show, but we can have a little bit of one or call. And again, it's not good because, like I said, Peggy had to go, which is unfortunate. If you want to call in, there's there's the link. There's the link. Let me put the phone line up. Actually, I guess I need to put the phone line up, or you're gonna get it. Please, for the love of God. Oh well, you know what? I don't know. That's gonna be a great series, though. That's gonna be a great series. So yeah, Jimmy Farrell is obviously a very disgruntled Islanders fan, but that remains to be seen. That's tomorrow, I think, right? That's game one is tomorrow. But if you want to come in, if you want to pop in, if you want to talk about quickly some items, because we're not gonna. I'm gonna go 90 minutes tops. So we basically got about a couple minutes, maybe one or two calls. But there's your link. There's your link. And we'll do that. We're going to, and again, if I get no people there, we'll do that. In fact, let's go in. We're gonna end it. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure. Remember, Captain and Wenches. And we'll see you. Remember, tomorrow night, Wild Wild West, 7:30 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Wild Wild West, and then another, you don't know, Jack About Sports show, Thursday, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Thank you for being here. Always a pleasure. And take care of yourselves. We'll see you up on for the next show. Be well. Remember, like, share, and comment after the show.